Hey, Mark here, and this video has got a couple of extracts from a course which I recently published, which seems to be getting some decent feedback. And it's called a CAGED system, but all that really is a way to explore the neck, so you can kind of get away from being stuck in certain positions. If I can even say it. And that's basically covering things like C, as in the example of this video, in one position, another position, another one there, which is a G-shaped chord, but looks nothing like a G. Then you've got your good old E-shaped bar chord, and then the next position up here, and then up the full octave, back up from where you started. So the video here, which I've put clips in from the course, is all about C major, and that's to do with C major scale, for a change from pentatonic stuff. And so if you're interested in fretboard freedom and just being able to get out of the rut of playing maybe the same old thing, or even just exploring, because I don't know about you, when I started playing and getting, you know, more familiar with the fretboard, I kind of ended up, I've said this before in other videos, I've ended up kind of up here somewhere and not really any idea where I am or how to get back or what I'm playing or whatever. So over the years, I've tried to put some sense into that and understand the systems, and you know, been helping other people with that. Some of the guys and girls I teach, when they get to a certain point where they're exploring that system as well, so they can play what they want. And the two things really are that, which is your fretboard knowledge, and then the second thing is improvisation, which is putting that information of where to play into a musical context. So check it out, see what you think, and if you want to go for the whole course, there's links below, and then you can click on that. And there's, at the moment, I'm adding to it because I'm getting feedback from people who are saying, oh, could you just put this in, or could you just explain that, which I'm open to, because obviously I want it to deliver and, you know, to be able to help people. That's the whole point of publishing it. And there's about 2 hours or something on there so far, and there's tabs, and there's some backing tracks from Sebastian Zunino. I don't know if you've seen his neo soul type backing tracks and stuff that he does here on YouTube. So some pretty cool stuff in there, and there's a free sort of like taster course, so you can check it out and see what you think. But at the very least, at least subscribe, even if you don't want to buy the course. Anyway, check it out, see what you think, and well, see you later. Take care, good luck, have fun. So let's have a look at the actual positions and the relative scales that go with the chord shapes. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie these together, because when you're getting to know the CAGED system and understanding how the shapes relate and what shape is where, obviously wherever you've got a chord, that forms the basis of a scale, and it could be a major scale, it could be a minor scale, it could be one of the pentatonics, and of course you've got pentatonic major and pentatonic minor as well. So everywhere that you've got a root note, there is a scale that starts from there, and wherever the chord shape is, there's a pattern that's over the top of that. So say, for example, let's take a basic, I was going to do a D actually, but I'm going to start with a C. Okay, so we've got a very basic C chord there. So this is obviously the root note, and this is the octave note. So when you do a scale, now there's a couple of different shapes that rely to this, that rely on this. So I'm going to explain them both, and this will help you kind of put that part of the chords overlap together, because there's common root notes. So let's explain that. There's a C chord. There's another C chord. So in the CAGED system, don't forget, we've got C, A, G, E, D. We've got C. So there's the C in the C chord. There's the A. Okay, so I've got an A-shaped chord moving up there, makes it A, B, C. And I think, like I've said in other videos in the course here, if that was a piano, that would be perfectly adequate. But because on the guitar we're used to strumming, we want other notes in there, because otherwise there's a danger of hitting stuff that, I mean, in this case it doesn't sound terrible, but it doesn't necessarily fit. So you've got to play the root note there. Okay, so you've got a chord shape which looks like. Now I play my chords like this purely and simply because over the years it's become convenient and comfortable to do that. So I either use my pinky down all three strings there, Right, so some of the kids I teach, they can't play these chords. For some reason, they're lacking the strength because it takes time to build up. There's a little muscle in there. If you squeeze your fingers together, you can see you've got this kind of little ball that's there. And the flexibility in the finger shape, being able to bend these knuckles where you need them, forward or backward. So it might be that that chord doesn't really look like anything. And when you see people playing, this is one of the other things about guitar. Yeah, when you see someone playing that, you've got no idea what they're doing. It's so like subtle, if you like. So what I'm doing, I'm playing a C chord, but it's an A shape. So this is where these notes come from. Okay, and that's, if you did classical guitar lessons, this would be the shape of the chord that they would show you to play. For me, that's very uncomfortable and very impractical. Maybe I'm just lazy, but this is how I would play it. Okay, so that's where that chord comes from, as we know and we've discussed elsewhere. But I want to kind of ram that home really with regard to the scales that work over the top. So look, if I play a standard C open, there's the chord, and I can almost play that scale over the top of that chord. Without really moving the fingers. Now I can't really do that here because there's a completely different pattern, but there's two more patterns here, and this is where it starts to get complicated because you've got this, the way the guitar's tuned in fourths. Man, I did just tune this up, I promise. So look, pattern 1, pattern 2. Okay, I really like these 3-note per string patterns. I know some people kind of are not that pro them. I don't know why. For me, when you're playing fast stuff, they're very symmetrical and you get used to them and they really help you flow between the positions. So this is position 4. Okay, so C, A, G, E, D. Now we refer to position 1 as the E. So it goes E, D, C, A, G. Now obviously CAGED doesn't have the same ring to it as CAGED, but position 4, that C chord there, I can play into position 5 and position 1. So this is my C root note. There's the octave, 2 octaves down. And if I go to there, linking that up. So what I'm doing, I'm going from the 3rd fret. That's actually the same note. It's called a unison note, as you probably know. Okay. So, ooh, Lydian, didn't mean to do that. So I'm going position 4 into position 5 now. Okay, and I'm going up there and I'm going to end up in 1, which I could start from up here. And into position 2, and then 3, where I end up with that root note, 13th fret on the B. Okay, position 1, position 2, position 4. This is that horrible position 5 called the G, which again, you know, no one's ever really going to play. And back to my position 3 chord, which is my fave C open. So what I'm trying to do here is to show you that the flexibility between the positions, after a while, although you might see one position, then another, it's a bit like, maybe you've seen the film The Matrix, and I use this as an analogy quite a lot in the discussions I have, where at the end, you know, Neo sees all of the coding, and instead of just actually seeing numbers, he sees the shapes and actually what it is, and the neck is a bit like that. So what we've got here is a pattern which works over one shape. Okay, this is another pattern. Now, I'm not suggesting that you only stay in one position when you play a melody or a scale or a solo or something like that, because obviously, you know, that's defeating the object of being able to express yourself. But it is a good idea to start focusing on one pattern in one area, so you really cement that information into your brain and really get used to the finger patterns. I mean, how how weird is that? That's exactly the same notes in 4 different places. And that's just one of the anomalies of the guitar. So if I was playing minor stuff, then I'd have to change my chord shape. Depends if you're into major or minor rock stuff, because the major stuff is like country. So say I played a G, I would be playing like major scale stuff or some of the blues stuff. Is major on the blues there, and just general major scale if you're playing a song that's in a major key. Okay, if it's minor, I need to change the chord and then my patterns change accordingly. Now, one thing I'm going to talk about is the difference between relative major and minor for these 5 pentatonic shapes, but I'm going to leave that to another video because that gets a bit complicated and takes a little while for most of my guys to get their head around. So in this video, really, I just want to focus on your attention on the fact that you can play all these C scales in different places, and it really depends on what you're comfortable with and what you're familiar with. But I'm going to put some of these patterns in the tab so you can practice them. Like I said before, I'm not going to put tabs for everything because you just end up with a ton of information that you don't really need. But there's probably 4 or 5 shapes which it's really good to get familiar with. So for now, just really focus on getting used to a couple of areas and seeing how those scales match up there, and have a bit of fun with the tabs. Okay, so you get used to where the root notes are. All right, I'll see you in the next video.